Hey, good day. This is your hillbilly historian coming to you from the hills of East Tennessee. I want to talk to you about some common sense things, kind of like some current events that you have to kind of be aware of. I subscribe to one of those food delivery programs where you get a box of food once a week. And I skipped the entire month of June, but they went ahead and sent me a box anyway. And they didn't put it on my front porch where they were supposed to. They left it in the driveway. So a plumber's service truck backed over the box, crushed it. Then the raccoons got a hold of it. Then the crows the next morning. That pretty well obliterated that box. But anyway, I decided to terminate if they were going to send boxes of food to me when I had no idea that it was coming. But I called my credit card. It was one of those automatic payments where they could take money out of my credit card. And so I called my credit card company to put a cease them taking money from my credit card. And I got one of them guys on the credit card company that was obviously either Filipino or Indian. I can't hardly tell the difference between the two. But he had a heavy foreign accent. But his name was Jim. And I told Jim I wanted to terminate this company from automatic withdrawal from my credit card. And he said, now get this. He said, I got to check to see if they are termination eligible. Do what? Termination eligible? Well, I told him, I said, look, eligible ain't got nothing to do with it. It's my credit card. I decide who can withdraw from it or who cannot. And you either terminate this merchant or I will terminate your credit card. I mean, how stupid can these people be? Termination eligible. You know, it's my credit card. I decide who takes money from my credit card and who don't. I decide who gets paid and who don't. It's my credit card. I told that guy, I said, I'll cut that credit card into 1,000 pieces and you will be terminated. And try to collect any money that I left owing you, because you either terminate this merchant or I terminate you. Simple as that. It's like the other day I had a couple of Mexicans come out of East Tennessee to repair a thing on my roof. And while he was here, I said, hey, why don't you give me an estimate on a whole new metal roof? He said, what color do you want? I said, color? I said, you charge, how does that affect the price? And so he gave me an estimate, and I said, well, I have a question. And I had talked to this guy. He was here illegally, he and his buddy, and he had been here 5 years. He was still paying a cartel for his being able to stay here in the USA. He and his wife, and he's had a daughter born here. He tried to point out, she's a citizen, you know. I said, well, that's still up in the air. We don't know whether anchor babies are legal yet or not, that's going to be going before the Supreme Court here one of these days. But it was sympathetic. He said he was still paying the cartel after 5 years. He said he had to work 7 days a week from dawn till dark. I mean, he was really, but he had a good, cheerful attitude about him, you know, and everything. But I had one question I wanted to ask you. I said, if I contract with you, he told me it'd take him 2 or 3 months to install this roof on my house. And I asked him, I said, now, do you have some kind of guarantee that you'll get this job done before Trump throws you out of the country? Yeah. I'll tell you what, it's, you know, I don't blame any man for wanting to go where the work's at. And there's a lot of work here in the USA. A lot of our young white kids don't have to work anymore. A lot of them do work, but some don't. We do rely on foreigners for a lot of the manual labor that has to be done in this country. And I don't blame a man, I don't care where he's from, wanting to go where he can make life better for himself and his family. But do it legally, don't do it illegally. And he was here illegally. But I didn't call anybody to report him or anything. That's, you know, that's none of my business. But he was a real interesting person to converse with. And he told me the cartel wanted another $50,000 for him to get his dad and mom and brother and sister up here. And I don't fault anybody for wanting to go anywhere, but you get hooked into those cartels, you're there for life. They'll milk him and his family forever. And it's a shame. It's, it's organized crime. That's the way it works. And we let them get away with it, you know. Thank God we're deporting a whole bunch of these people. But it's something else. Oh, yeah, I had another thing happen here recently. You know, I thought a company like AT&T would screen their employees to where they knew basic English and knew what they were doing. But I had a contract with AT&T for unlimited, quotation marks, unlimited long distance service. Unlimited long distance service. And I got my long distance service terminated. And I called and said, what's the matter here? Oh, you've exceeded your service. Whoa! What is it you don't understand about the word unlimited? I talked for days to the technical people at AT&T, couldn't get an inch out of them. Not a one of them could I get them to understand what the word unlimited meant. When you purchase unlimited long distance service, you can be on the phone 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, making long distance phone calls. Unlimited. I mean, how? You know, I had a great professor in college back in 1960, early, mid-1960s at Berea College, Kentucky. He was a sociology professor. And we were studying at Berea liberal arts curriculum, which was designed by Robert Hutchins at University of Chicago. His little brother, Francis, was the president of Berea, and So we were using the liberal arts curriculum agenda, which you learn a little bit about everything your first 2 years. And sociology was one of those requirements we all had to take. And they had this professor, James Sturmer, brilliant man, real intelligent. He used to tell us, said, America is shifting from a manufacturing nation to a service nation. And he said, but there's a problem with this. Americans don't know how to provide service. And boy, I'm telling you what, AT&T got some of the dumbest damn people working for them I have ever encountered in my lifetime. Did not understand. I finally got in touch. It was about midnight on a Friday night. Got a hold of this little black lady in Atlanta, and I knew she was black. She had that southern black accent, and I used to teach down in Jonesboro, right below Atlanta, and I was familiar with that accent. I was pretty sure she was really a southern black lady, but she was so nice. She finally got this situation resolved and got my unlimited long distance service back in operation. As I ran a business out of my home, and I had to have long distance service and a lot of it. And AT&T, except for this little black lady in Atlanta, they got some of the dumbest damn white people I have ever encountered in my life. White supremacy, my ass. These people, you know, you got to be intelligent to be supreme, and these people are definitely on the bottom of the barrel. I was amazed. AT&T, and it's just real interesting what's going on out there, and you have to be alert. You know, termination eligible, unlimited, all these terms they throw at you to try to trick you and into basically keeping access to your money. You know, it's just amazing. You have to be alert when dealing with these people on the phone. And regrettably, a lot of our corporations are utilizing cheap labor out of India or Philippines or somewhere to handle their service calls. And it's a situation that makes it hard sometimes to understand. So I have to talk in a very determined fashion with these people to get them to understand what's going on in this planet and what the definition and the meaning of basic English words are. You know, it's like Bill Clinton said, what's the definition of is? What is is? It is absolutely unbelievable what goes on in our world. And the barriers that intelligent people or semi-intelligent people like me have to climb over to get to these people, to kind of knock on their heads and say, hey, are you home up there? But anyway, this is your hillbilly historian giving you some nonsense about what's going on in the reality of our modern world. So I'll be saying goodbye today. This is your hillbilly historian coming to you from the hills of East Tennessee. Have a nice day.